Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the show. Now, this is a subject normally I don't talk about things like this on this show. Though I'm going to talk about something I normally don't talk about, but I talk about things that will affect or could affect the financial system. Any subject that can affect the financial system is something that I'm going to get right on it. And this is a subject right here that could potentially affect the world's financial system. I'm going to explain to you why in just a minute. As a disease that's spreading. It's called Ebola. It's in the Congo right now. So we're going to take a look at the facts on this, not the fear mongering. There's going to be if this thing starts to get loose like the last time we had an Ebola epidemic, it got loose and it spread a lot of fear. A lot of fear. Here in North America, a lot of fear. This one could get loose the same way and spread a lot of fear too. So I'm going to explain to you guys what it is. I'm going to explain to you where it is, what effect it can have on the world's financial system. And so let's get right into it. Let's start the charts right here and let's take a look at what this is. Ebola virus disease. You know, it's a bad hemorrhagic type fever. That's what it actually is. It's a hemorrhagic, meaning that it causes, hemorrhagic means hemorrhage or to bleed. It's a bleed fever. It makes you bleed. And it's a hemorrhagic fever, and it is very, very dangerous. But this is the part we want to focus on right here, how it's spread. The virus spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids. Now this is important for you to understand. A flu, an ordinary flu virus, a person could be in the front of the bus coughing, and you're in the back of the bus, and you can catch it more than 30 feet away from the tiny little particulate in the drops of cough. Now I'm not talking about Ebola, I'm talking about the flu. You can catch the flu that way. Be very specific. That's how you can catch the flu very easily. From a great distance away, airborne. The flu is airborne. This virus, it says very specifically here, this virus spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids. Now this is different than the flu. It says such as blood from infected humans or other animals. Spread may also occur from contact with items recently contaminated with bodily fluids. So saliva would be a bodily fluid. If somebody ate off of a fork, and that fork had saliva on it, and you came in contact with that saliva, then you could catch Ebola. Anything that they've had contact with. So if they were sick and they came into a desk, and they sat down on the desk, and their head went down over the desk, and they got their bodily fluids on the desk, and then they left, and you come in and you sat down at the same desk, and you got it on your hands, you could be in trouble. See? You get it from direct contamination with bodily fluids. So it's harder to be spread. Not impossible, but it's harder to be spread than the flu. It's harder to catch than the flu. But it's still very dangerous because if you come in contact with any bodily fluids that are contaminated, you can catch this. So that's how it's spread, being very specific, and it's very deadly too. It kills probably half of the people that actually come down with it. Once you come down with it, you're in big trouble if you come down with Ebola. So that's what the virus actually is now. This is where the virus is at. It's in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's in the Congo. That's where it is. Now, we're going to take a look here, and we're going to see where the Congo is. If we look to the right-hand side of the screen here, you can see this green marked place right in the center of Africa. This is the Republic of the Congo, in the dark green. And this is the Congo. And it says the Democratic Republic of the Congo, also known as the DR Congo, or Congo, right? Simply the Congo is a country located in the center of Africa, and it used to be called Zaire. Now, from what I'm understanding about this breakout in the Congo, that they have a population of over 78 million people in this. And this is the problem. The problem is that they have a very large population. It's the second largest in all of Africa, after Algeria, and the 11th largest in the world, with a population of over 78 million. It says the Democratic Republic of the Congo is the most populated, officially Francophone country. The fourth most populated country in Africa. So it's the fourth most populated in Africa. So there's a heavy, dense population in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And from what we read here, it says currently, Eastern Democratic Republic Congo is the scene of an ongoing military conflict since 2015. Now, this is causing a problem for the people who are trying to contain this crisis. Let's take a look here at this news story that just came out. This story came out on May 20th, 2019. Today's the 21st. So it's about a day-old story, but it's fairly new. It's a fairly new story by PBS, Public Broadcasting System. This is their story here, and it says that the Congo's Ebola crisis threatens to spiral out of control. It says more than 1,100 people have died from Ebola in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So, despite information campaigns, new treatment facilities that reduce disease transmission, and an effective new vaccine, the outbreak is spreading because of ongoing violence and residents' deep distrust of government. So ongoing violence is having a very profound effect upon this. It says all that is left of a health clinic in the Democratic Republic of Congo's North Kivu region, a local militia burned it down and threatened the doctors. Since January, there have been dozens of deadly attacks on clinics, where the beds now sit empty under open sky. So, we see what's happening here. That this director, General Titos, warned the risk that Ebola could spread to other countries. He said, quote, very high. The risk is very high. He says, we are fighting one of the world's most dangerous viruses in the world, in one of the world's most dangerous area. So this is the problem. There's so many people in the Congo. And the ones who are fighting this virus are finding that there's a war zone going on. There's problems. And they're having problems containing it at this point. So what does it mean to all of us? Let's turn the charts off right now, and I'll tell you guys what it means to all of us. If this thing spreads out of the Congo, there's airplanes that fly around the world that can carry people that could possibly be contaminated. And these people could actually land in an airport, near you even. Quite seriously. Now, this is not a reason for panic. Because in countries like here in North America, Canada, America, all these other countries, we have systems in place that are very effective at stopping disease and controlling it through, we have very good sanitation, we have very good medical services, we have very good personnel within our police departments and within our medical departments and within the Centers for Disease Control and so on, in the developed world, where this type of a disease, like Ebola, can't spread very far. But, now, there's a big problem. Where it does try to seed itself, in other words, say a sick person comes across in an airplane or whatever, and they don't know what he has, and a number of people come in contact with him, they have to trace that down. They have to go and they have to actually do their homework. These people that work for the Center for Disease Control and these other places have to do their homework. They have to find out that person that was contaminated, where he flew from, what country, how long he had it. They have to test him and everything else. And then what they have to do is they have to go hunt down each and every person that he came in contact with. And then they have to quarantine. This is how they stop it in the developed countries like our country. When a situation starts happening like that, or multiple situations start happening like that, that's when it has an effect on our financial system. And why it has an effect on our financial system is, when this is ongoing, say there's a number of cases of this happening, where they're quarantined in different areas of the country because they're scared that the disease may have got loose in the developed world. People get frightened, very frightened. The last time it happened, people were very frightened here in North America. A lot of people, when a situation like this happens, they just stay home. They just decide, hey, I'm not going to go to the shopping mall this weekend because I heard there's whatever on the news. And they get frightened and they just stay home. They don't spend money. They don't spend money. They stay home and they eat what's in the pantry. You know, and if the worse the situation gets, the more cases that they have where people are flying out of, say, Africa and coming to America, and they're landing, and people on board have Ebola, and they have to quarantine a bunch of people, and it all goes in the news. Oh, you know, everybody thinks they got it. It's one of those diseases where it's so frightening. It's such a frightening disease, especially for us over here in the West, that basically people get carried away with the paranoia. They'll even display mock symptoms. Some people that are very sensitive to these kind of things, who are very frightened of things like this, might start, especially if they hear on the news that there's Ebola, they could quite literally start thinking, oh, maybe they got a little flu or something, you know, and they start thinking they got it or something. And what happens, too, is in a situation like this, emergency rooms get full of people who are worried. They got a little flu, they got a little cold, they got a little sore throat, they got a little headache, and they come into the emergency room and they're worried, and what's going through their mind is, I got Ebola. They don't have Ebola, but they think to themselves, oh no, I got Ebola, you know. And there's no real path to how they got it or anything else. It's just plain old fear. Nothing but plain old fear. And this happens. What this does is it spreads fear that'll slow everything in the economy down. It can slow, quite literally, a disease like this, if it starts to really get out of control and out of hand in the third world and in these poorer countries. The developed countries in the West, the fear can get so bad that it could chop 20% off of the economy. Quite literally. You know, if people get scared enough, they will just stay home. They won't buy, they won't shop, they won't do anything. They won't go out and buy new cars. They'll just stay home where they feel safe and where they feel like they can't catch it, even if it's not really rational. This fear can become so bad that even if it's not really rational. And so we got this situation where we're going to have to wait a few more weeks or maybe a few more months to find out just how it progresses. But the headline here from PBS NewsHour says, Congo's Ebola crisis threatens to spiral out of control. So I'm getting a little bit in front of this story right now because it hasn't spiraled out of control yet. But they're saying it threatens to spiral out of control, and that's why I'm getting a little bit ahead of the story. So listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye, guys.